Okay, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting on at 6 o'clock. The first thing will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next thing, we have comments from community and staff. Any comments? None. We'll move right into recognition. All righty. New staff is student board representative, Dr. Tony.
Yes, we are excited about introducing our newest staff, and Lynn Rossellini will be introducing our principals, who will introduce the new staff. But I remember, as if it were yesterday, my first year in a school district when I was 24 years old, and that's many years ago. But I remember it to this day, and I'm certain that the people this evening who are being introduced tonight will remember this evening's introduction as well. So with that, Lynn Rossellini.
Thank you, Dr. Costa, board members and audience. This fall, we welcome 90 staff members to the district. I had the pleasure of meeting them all virtually at our new employee orientation. Before the start of school, they were already actively engaged in professional development and acquainting themselves with our community. They have worked really hard. They are a great group. And so I want you to join me in welcoming them to Orting School District. And so I'm going to ask, as Tony said, ask our principals to introduce each of the staff members and their assignment. So let's start with OPS. And so Christy, will you begin, please?
I'd be happy to. Thanks, Lynn. OPS had the opportunity to hire a new assistant principal this year. So Erin Alvers has joined us tonight. Erin, we were so excited as we were interviewing. We never know kind of what online interviews is going to be like. In-person interviews, you kind of read the room and there's energy and excitement, and you read everybody's body language and faces, and we just weren't sure what that was going to translate to in our Meet interviews. And as Erin started to speak, I watched our entire team lean in and engage. Erin spoke just so articulately and eloquently in response to our questions. She has 20 years experience in the Puyallup School District as an elementary counselor. That is a blessing to our school in the assistant principal role. And we've been so thankful for her guidance and her experience that she's brought to that role. Erin just finished her admin program, and she's hit the ground running, helping us plan, 3 different versions of elementary school in the last couple of months. But Erin is also mom to 3 girls in middle and high school who attend school in Puyallup. Recently adopted a puppy, and then because that's not enough, she's also working on her doctorate. So Erin is an amazing addition to our OPS staff. We also had the opportunity to hire a kindergarten teacher, Elizabeth McGriff, and Elizabeth's here this evening. Thanks for joining us. Elizabeth is a recent graduate of the Pierce College program. She actually did her student teaching with us, and it's a full year program. She student taught with Mandy Miller in our preschool at the first half of the year, and then with Margaret Collins in kindergarten the second half of the year. And she hadn't been in kindergarten long when all of a sudden we switched to remote learning, but she stuck with it. She asked great questions. She was engaged. The kindergarten team had really fantastic things to say, as had our preschool team. So when we had an opening in kindergarten, it made perfect sense to bring Elizabeth on board. She's also local to our community and has a little boy, and has just been a great addition to our team. So thank you for joining us. And then we had finally an opportunity to hire a first grade teacher, Morgan Tinney. And I think I saw, Morgan's with us tonight. You there, Morgan? Oh, she's frozen there.
Hi.
Perfect. Morgan is also a recent graduate from Central Washington University. She did her student teaching in 2nd grade in Enumclaw. And I actually know the teacher that she student taught with. And so it was easy to make a phone call and just say, can you tell me about Morgan's student teaching experience? And her mentor teacher raved about her. I also then called the principal and he said, please don't hire her. She's probably the best student teacher I've ever worked with. And I'm trying desperately to find a spot for her. And I'm hoping that you'll delay it so that I can find a spot. So of course that meant like, hey, can we offer her a job as soon as possible? But Morgan lives in Enumclaw and has just done a great job of connecting with our 1st grade team, asking great questions, connecting with kids. I was in one of her meets the other day and our kids were captivated by her. So we're glad to have her as part of our team. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Dave Slagle at the middle school.
All right. Thanks, Chrissy. Thanks, Mr. Holland, President, and the rest of the board for a chance tonight to kind of talk about a couple of people that we've been able to bring on board this year at Orting Middle School. First person I want to talk about, she's not actually here tonight. She had a previous commitment with a family, but Carlina Bowers has actually been with the district for a long time in a coaching role at the high school. She's the head cheer coach at the high school. We landed her in June in the middle of the shutdown as our library media tech. And we are so stoked to have her aboard. She is an example of what it means to be a lifelong learner. She just finished her degree while she transitioned from her previous role with in the healthcare industry into working with us. And quite frankly, we kind of threw her to the wolves in terms of, yo, Carlina, we got to distribute some Chromebooks. Can you make it happen for us? And she took over distribution over the course of those 3 weeks in August, and it was flawless. So we're really excited to have her. And her experience with cheer has given her a very level head in terms of navigating people. And so we're really pleased to have her be with us. And her additional roles are in the building beyond the library are working with our assessment program. And she's already taken a deep dive into coordinating with Jody Leonard at the district office in how to shape our assessment program in a remote environment, which is an entirely new channel. The other person that I get to introduce tonight, she's here, is April Reynolds Morris. He is joining us as a counselor, and in a lot of ways, she's probably more a digital native than we are, because she finished her internship last spring in a digital environment after the shutdown. So she is a graduate of the University of Southwest. She comes to us with a really nice experience base out of coordinating nonprofit work. And so she brings a skill set to the table that Orting Middle is really happy to have, just first as an institution, and then secondly as a bridge into our work in the community. Specifically, she did a lot of work with food banks and Special Olympics in her past careers. And she has dove in and tackled the getting into Skyward, and we blew up the master schedule the day before classes started, and she has rolled with the punches. So we are very, very pleased to have her with us. For the record, she and I talked about this afternoon. District where she might have done her internship has already kind of reached out to her about the 21-22 school year, and I already told her no. So we are definitely angling to keep April around, and we're really happy to have her join us. So And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Cliff to talk about his new community members. Mike, Cliff.
Thanks again, Dave. Thank you, board, for allowing me the opportunity to introduce new folks we have. I think this is the first time in administration that we've had more than one cert introduced, so this is going to be new for us. We have 3 certs tonight to introduce. First, I want to introduce, name might be familiar, Julie Bannon. Ms. Bannon comes to us. She's been out in North Mason School District. She came up in a way that's very fond to many of our staff members. She came up through the ranks of a paraprofessional, and she worked in special education and worked as a para. And then there was an emergency in her school, and they had to rally together, and she took over the class through her student teaching and through her schooling. And that's where I found her and snagged her, courtesy of her brother and sister-in-law, Tom and Marcy Bannon. So we got to get one more. It's a great family, so I figure it's great genetics. We got to just keep stealing Bannon. So I'm really excited to have Julie. Julie started off, as the other principals have mentioned, in an online environment, strictly not being able to shake their hand and bring them in and introduce them to the fold and walk around the building. But Julie has stepped right into the position, and her department loves her. So very excited to have Julie. So Julie, welcome to the district. Next up, we have Ben Peterson. Ben is a unique one. Ben went to college to become a lawyer. He succeeded in going all the way through college and becoming a lawyer, I believe, in Denver. Is that correct, Ben? Is it Denver?
Boulder, yeah. Colorado.
Boulder, it is Colorado. So I asked Ben, lawyers get paid significantly more than teachers. Why are you going into teaching? Because Ben and I, something about Ben as we interviewed each other, I really appreciate from Ben. Ben was not going to take the first job he was offered. It was very important to him that the students and the community and even his principal, he asked me about my belief systems. Ben leads from his moral compass. But I said, why teaching? And Ben said, I thought lawyers help people and could change lives. And the second I started, I realized that was not the case. And I wanted to affect lives and change people's lives, so I went into teaching. So I was like, I got to have this guy as staff. I thought Matt Carlson was going to tackle him. So we got Ben, and it's been a great addition. Ben is a very even-keeled person in social studies and English staff. He teaches on both sides of the fence. He doesn't know this, but there was a background argument for who's going to be his mentor. There's quite a few people that wanted a chance to be mentors. We got a lot of veterans in that group. So Ben joins a great department, and we appreciate having him. So welcome to Morning, Ben, and thank you for choosing us. And lastly, we have Josh Hale. We all know that Leon Nance retired after 40 years as a counselor. So that was huge shoes to fill. And Josh been able to do it. Josh, as a counselor, I know you guys on the board know that counselors at the beginning of the year, it's just absolute craziness. You're changing schedules, you're taking phone calls, you're bringing in new students. I had to introduce Josh into his first high school placement. He came from a middle school placement in Connecticut, Washington. And although he helped the high school staff quite a bit with their counseling roles, he had to walk into a high school position in the middle of, well, when I brought him on, he was making an A-B schedule to return to school. And then a few weeks before school, we flipped it and went all online. And him and Shelley Smith have been doing work every single night. And it has been a pleasure to see Josh work. He has fit perfectly into that department, and they love him dearly, and so do I. So he's a great addition to the Cardinal family, and he's got 3 great staff members there at the high school to take care of your kids in a perfect time. So thank you. With that, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Lynn Rosalini.
Thanks, Cliff. I believe Chris is here. Chris Willis to
Yep.
introduce.
Mhm. Yes, hi. Thank you for having me tonight, and I'm really excited to introduce two speech and language pathologists to the Ording School District. At first, I know both Tanya and Sammy are here today. Thank you, Tanya and Sammy, for coming by, and I'm sorry that everyone can't meet you directly in person. But Tanya comes to us. She's been a speech therapist for 9 years. She actually worked with the geriatric patients prior to coming to Ording. She was initially drawn to Ording because it was a beautiful area and she really wanted to be part of a small community. Moving from Jerry to little kids and some high schoolers, it's going to be quite a challenge, but she's really gone up to that challenge, worked directly with some of our staff already, and I welcome her so very much to being here at Ording because she does such, I'm just so glad to have her here. Then Sammy comes to us also from another career. She's been in SLP for 4 years. She worked at Kindering Children's Family Center those 4 years. She was actually here before, several years ago, as an SLPA. She really wanted to come into a school setting because she wanted to learn how to better support kids academically. She chose Ording because she felt like it was a supportive team and that she really wanted to spend her time really focused on the academics and how basically speech goals would really help support students accessing the educational program. A little thing about Sammy, she told me no at first, and then about 3 weeks later, she changed my mind. And so I'm very excited about having both Sammy and Tanya here in the Ording School District.
Thank you, Chris. You may have noticed that we haven't heard from Alicia Jensen tonight. That's because she doesn't have any new staff members, but she is here to welcome our new staff. So thanks for joining us, Alicia. And so now I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. Apostle, who's going to welcome the new student board representatives.
Well, the great news is the board will be introducing our new student reps on the board. Let me quickly tell you a story. Principal Freeze and I were given the task of interviewing the candidates for the one position open for the board position. And so Mr. Freeze and I interviewed the 4 young women, and when we were done, we looked at each other and we just said, now, who's your favorite? And we looked at each other and we said, geez, Mr. Freeze said, they're all good. They're all great. He then looked at me and he said, what do you think? Who's your favorite? I said, Principal Freeze, they're all good. They're all my favorite. I can't choose among them. And then I asked, because I was a newcomer at the time, I said, are you aware of any rules? Can we have more than one person join as a student rep? And he said that he was not aware of any rules that prohibited us from having more than one. And so tonight, you are going to be introduced to our newest members as the student reps to the board, and we're excited about that. And starting it off tonight is our board president, Holland, who will introduce our returning student rep. Stanley?
Well, sorry you can't see me. My office computer is, they download something that's all screwed up. So, and I'm looking forward to introduce Ava Fritz. Ava is our senior board representative. This is her 2nd year serving on the board. Ava loved to be outside spending time at the lake and hiking with her friends. Her career aspiration includes becoming an elementary school teacher. One of the reasons why she chose this profession is because she believes education is extremely important to make a positive impact on students, so they will love to learn. She has not decided which school she's going to apply to, but she hoped to be available to wrestle while studying to become a teacher.
Welcome back, Ava.
Welcome back, Ava.
Yes, welcome back, Ava. And I'm up next. Can I go now? I'm kind of excited. Okay. First I want to welcome all the new staff. We are so excited to have you on board, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. And tonight I have the honor of introducing our 2nd school board representative, Nadine Brandt. Nadine is a huge advocate for health, believes in equality among all, and supports those less fortunate. She loves to create music, bake, and cook. She is a very motivated hard worker and loves learning and trying new things. So welcome, Nadine. Kathy, you're
Thank you,
next.
Maddie.
Okay, and I am thrilled to get to introduce Amber Burgess because I had the wonderful opportunity of working with her mom, and I bought flowers from Amber. Amber's passions are music and writing. She is a member of the varsity cheer team, and she also participates on the track and field team. Yay! She would love to attend Washington State University to obtain a biomedical science degree with continued study in pharmaceuticals. Her career goal is to become a pharmacist in a hospital. Wow.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to see you again, Amber.
Well, I guess I'm up. It's my pleasure to introduce Cassidy Collins, who is a member of the varsity cheer team and is also a member of one of the single greatest sports available to our students, track. She is looking forward to launching the Orting High School news program, Cardinal News, to future business leaders of America. She has aspirations to become a broadcast journalist and would like to attend Chapman University to study this degree. Welcome, Cass.
And lastly, I have the honor of introducing Haley Henderson. Haley is a leadership student, a fast pitch player, and a member of the 2020-2021 Executive Board and National Honor Society. She has aspirations to become a teacher and is currently working as a daycare provider where she puts practice into play. She very much enjoys working with people and seeing smiles on their faces. So welcome to all of our new board members, student representatives, and welcome to Ava, welcome back, and welcome to all the new employees. It's so good to hear your names and kind of see a little picture. Can't wait to see you all in person.
Yay! Thank you guys so much for the warm welcome.
Thank you so
I
much.
just want to say welcome to everybody and enjoy Orting. It's a fun town.
It's an honor to be a part of this
Well-
board. Thank you so much.
Great to have you on board. In fact, I'm going to be meeting with the student reps tomorrow, and the student reps may have a special project they would like to talk to me about, and so I look forward to talking with all of you tomorrow.
Wow, way to jump right
Thank you.
in.
Yeah,
Yes.
they jumped right in. So thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. Next on our agenda are reports. The first thing is from Marcy Bannon, Financial, prepared by.
Prepared by. So if you guys have any questions about the financial report, let me know.
All right, I'll go. No.
No question. Anyway.
All righty, no questions. We'll move on to enrollment update. That's a good one.
That one is
Marcy.
me, and I think that's me too. So what was I going to say? Okay, so our enrollment is better than I reported last time. So currently our enrollment is up to 2467.99, and you guys know I like my decimals, so I can't round. It's up 81.4. Sorry, it's up 81.41 from the board work session, which is great. At that point, I reported 2,386. So we're up from there. We are still getting new kids every day. When I hear from the principals, there's new kids still enrolling. So I think when we get to the October numbers, they're going to go up even more. The new number that we are reporting for this month, it actually could change. So OSPI came out with some rules, some new guidance for us for this special new year. And normally our count in September is for the first 4 days of school only. Well, they've expanded that for us to say as long as the student was enrolled in school in the first 4 day, so they had to be enrolled, but even if they didn't attend, we can now count them if they attend sometime in the month of September. So they're expanding our normal September rules, which is really kind of them. As you guys probably heard, I think they talked about this. Most of our people have attended. Most of our kiddos by our 4-day had attended. The principals and their staff, they found them all. So there wasn't a lot of kids that we haven't counted. So it's not going to go up very much for the September account, but it could go up a little bit. Unfortunately, of course, we still are down from budget. We're down from budget by 145 kiddos currently. It's great because 342 of our kids are doing the online option only, which is, I'm glad we have it because it seems like it's a very popular choice. I was a little surprised by the number. In the last few years, we've had only 8 in our ALE program at the high school, so 342 is definitely a big increase in that number. I'm not going to go over the contributing factors of our lower enrollment. I went over those at the regular work session. Let's see, Running Start did start on the 8th, so this does include their first 4 days as well. We kept our kindergarten numbers where we thought they were going to be. The financial decrease based on this enrollment is obviously better than it was the last time, but there still is a decrease. It could be anywhere, and I think I talked about this last time. And it does appear that we're going to meet the 17-to-1 class ratio for K-3, and it very much appears that that's going to be the case. Our projected decrease from budget of apportionment is going to be close to about $840,000, a bit over $841,000. If we didn't have that 17-to-1 class size and we still had the class size that we had in 1920, it'd be closer to a $1.4 million decrease. So the 17-to-1 is definitely helping us out. Not that I like that we have lower class. It's great we have lower class sizes. I would like the kids to come back, of course. And then what was the other thing? Oh, and then just to talk real quick about, I am currently working on year end. So I'm starting to look at our ending fund balance for the 1920 school year. And while it is definitely not finalized by any point, but it appears that the ending fund balance that I had predicted during budget is actually going to be higher than what I predicted. So that is going to be of help to us with the lower enrollment and the other unknown changes that are going to happen to us in the 2021 school year. So that's some good news to offset the bad news. So anyone have any questions that I can help with?
No questions, but a comment. You always do a fabulous job of explaining this, and I just appreciate it so stinking much. I was thinking in my head I was going to have a question, and you answered it before I had to think about asking it. So thank you for doing such a thorough job in lay terms so that I can understand exactly what you're saying. And then I give a shout out. Staff, you mentioned with the change with OEI and kind of giving a little bit of a grace period. All the staff that reached out to make sure to contact those kiddos and get them in there. Great job. Great job.
Yeah, very impressive. It was really good.
I don't have a question but a comment. I just want to say you're a walking budget. you know the numbers. I really appreciate you.
I do really enjoy my job. So thanks.
Thanks, Marcy.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Marcy. See you in your window.
There's no other questions from Marcy. We're going to move on to reopening updates, staff and faculty. Ms. Lynn.
Thank you, Director Holland. You know, despite fires, electrical and Wi-Fi outages, smoke, and of course the pandemic, I couldn't be more pleased with the start of school. And you might be thinking why, and it really is because of the people. Our staff our staff and our principals have worked so tirelessly to provide a good start for our kids. Our maintenance staff has developed new protocols to clean the buildings and sanitize them so they're safe. The to-do list of projects that they have completed is a long one. And they are continuing to work so that once our students come back, the buildings will be safe for them. And I'm really, really pleased about that. They've worked so hard. They've also ordered enough protective equipment, personal protective equipment, along with Chris Willis's support to ensure that we have those things on hand once folks come back. Our food service and bus drivers have teamed to ensure that our families get meals. And they are delivering to 4 remote locations in the district. And once this smoke clears, they're going to resume a grab-and-go meal service at OMS. So the number of meals each day has varied greatly. I think that once we're back in providing meals at OMS, our numbers will come in around 350, 400 meals a day that we're providing. And you have to double that because that's breakfast and lunch. So hats off to our food service workers and our bus drivers. And of course, our building staff have been amazing in fine-tuning the ways to reach out to families. And that was already mentioned, that they have gone out and located students and families to determine, are they homeschooling? Have they moved out of the district? Or do they just need some coaxing to come back? They've really done a good job. And at the same time, our teachers are having to learn and refine a new way of teaching. And our principals have sat in on those class meets, and they're so impressed with the student engagement and the way teachers are finding new ways to engage kids. So we've got to really thank them. And everyone I've talked to wants our kids back in school. We all do. And no matter how impatient we are with that, we are going to be safe. We are going to be cautious. We are going to work with the Tacoma-Pierce County Health Department so that we can determine when it is safe to return our kiddos and when we are ready to do so. So we're going to keep you posted on that. We guarantee that. And finally, I want to thank our union partners for the work that they did with us. We have reached tentative agreement with PSE and OEA, and that should be finalized soon. They have helped inform our work. They've helped share ideas about how we can be safe and ways we can support our staff if they are impacted by the pandemic. There's been specific legislation passed, so there may be additional leave or funding available for staff who must take leave if they're ill or a family member is. But I want to give hats off to our HR staff who are becoming experts in everything related to COVID-19. So thank you all. And I think that's what it really comes down to. OSD employees came together through some very difficult times to make sure that they could provide the best start of school for our kids. So I really want to thank them, and I think we all should acknowledge what a great job they've done. It's been a smooth start despite all those things I mentioned at first. So thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to say congratulations to everyone for being so flexible and so caring with the natural disasters, the USDA waiting to the last minute to give the waiver again. You know, I mean, it's just been one thing after another, and people, I know they're tired, but kudos for making it happen for the kids. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, Lynn, in a few minutes, you covered massive amounts of effort from individuals, and there's so much teamwork that had to occur to accomplish that and to keep our students on the right track and our staff hanging on through all of these changes. All of those things are all new and different and things we're experiencing for the first time. like Kathy, I just want to say kudos to the whole team. I am so impressed with our district and how we're still caring for each other and holding each other up and moving forward in cool ways for our kids. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment, not as a board member, but as a dad with 3 kids in the district this year. 2 of them in the middle school, 1 in the high school. And everything that we've experienced, every time they reach out, they have a question, handled quickly, professionally, and compassionately. Everybody that they've had to work with has been very much looking out for their best interest. So I do want to say that, as a parent in the district, I've really enjoyed the way the years.
Thank you.
Just a comment. Lynn, great job.
Oh, thank you, Stanley.
Any other comments for Lynn? If none, we're going to move on to curriculum adoption. Mr. Steve.
Yes, thank you. I just want to lend my voice to welcome our student representatives as well. It's always great to have our students involved in our processes like this, and so welcome. And again to our new staff members. I had a chance to join them for their first day in the district with our TPEP Stage 1 training. And so they listened to me for a whole day. So I just want to make this also an invitation to them. They don't have to stay on. You're welcome to stay on to the board meeting if you like, but I know it's been a long day of teaching for you as well as our administrators. Thank you for joining us. But if at any point you guys want to finish your evening doing something different than listening to me and others, please feel free to do so. Thank you for joining us. You guys are amazing.
Thanks, Steve.
You bet. So just as thinking about our curriculum adoption process, I've been thinking in light of the many transitions that our district has faced over the last 6 months. We really have an opportunity as a leadership team to engage you, our board of directors, in helping us reshape our processes and procedures in a way that increases your confidence and support in our work. Moving forward, we're really considering our responsibility around accountability, collaboration, and transparency with our stakeholders so that the Orting community's confidence and support increases as well. Those are our targets. I previously addressed questions from board regarding the status of our curriculum in the district, and at the time provided an update audit on our materials that we have in our system. And at the time, I believe I understood that the nature of the questions was based on questions and concerns that had come to the board from both community and staff. We were in the middle of 3 different curriculum studies that were leading to potential adoptions when COVID shut us down in March. Those studies were in elementary math, middle school science, and secondary social studies, which was being driven by the release of the new state standards for social studies. All that work was put on hold, and before we start thinking about moving forward on it, we kind of want to take this opportunity to pause and review our processes that we have in place and really seek your input on those processes. I presented a document for you to look at that outlines the method of curriculum study and adoption that works in conjunction with our board policy 2020 that assures that the processes and procedures that we use really help and address our ability to effectively act, focusing on our accountability, our collaboration, and our transparency with our stakeholders. So as you've had a chance to review this document in light of our continued work in the area of curriculum study and adoption, I'm really interested in your feedback on how we can best proceed in our development of a strong process and procedure in this area. Interested in some of what your thoughts around our needed accountability, collaboration, and transparency based on what you've heard from stakeholders, or even your own vision for the quality of the work that you feel like you'd be proud to sponsor moving forward. Sure appreciate your help in shaping this, and as we think about this as an example of kind of our policies and procedures moving forward, how do we do that in a way that continues to build confidence for you as our board of directors and for our community as well. So I would be open to hearing what your thoughts and suggestions are, and now, or if as you think about it in the future, you could always contact me directly or email me or whatnot. So with that, I'll just pause and see if you have some thoughts or questions.
Steve, I did have a thought, and when I read through both the ACT document as well as our policy and procedure, I couldn't figure out where I wanted to make a change, but I want to share my hopes, my hopes with this process with you, in hopes that you could weave that in where it's appropriate. One of the things that I know in the past we had confusion around, or we identified as an opportunity to improve next go around, was where stakeholders, community, and family stakeholders are involved in the process. And one thing I wanted to avoid was moving through a curriculum adoption process, and then at the end bring in some community and parents, and the decision has kind of already been made at that point. I wanted to go sooner in the process, so it felt like a collaborative effort, and that it was really a collaborative effort with family and community involvement. So I think the document allows for that, but I wanted to make sure that the intent was also there, and that in execution we can involve more stakeholders. The educators, obviously they're an authority in the subject matter and in the curriculum process. So we're going to trust their judgment, trust the committee's judgment on that, but I want to make sure families and community have a voice in it as well.
So in our traditional process where this happens during the school day, and we've released teachers to do the work, get subs for their class and release them to do the work for this upfront part before it goes to public review. So what are you suggesting, Carrie, the possibility of having community members involved in that initial process so that they're familiar with how we go through, what our criteria is, how we build our filters, how we're looking at different curriculum and stuff, so that they're a little bit better informed on even the process itself?
Yeah, I like that idea of being kind of observing the process and participating in it as as an observer, so that when it comes time to hearing the recommendation, they have some backstory to it and some understanding of the reasoning. In my mind, I was envisioning like all these decisions get made, and then at the last minute, there's a community component, but the bus is already moving.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would turn it back around and give it to you to consider where it makes the most sense to involve community and stakeholders, and where they can add value to the conversation, and where you want people involved, like informed and aware of maybe the background leading up to those decisions.
Yeah, seeing our student representatives here makes me think of I was involved in a teaching and learning network meeting today where one of the directors mentioned they're looking at their process and trying to see if they can figure out a way to involve students in the selection process early on, so to get kids input on the kind of stuff that is being selected.
Yeah, and I always believe that when you go to implement something as impactful as new curriculum, you have a bunch of people going, yeah, we've talked about this, this is the right decision. And so involving more in that process, I think, may help in the implementation process.
At one point in time when we did have building leadership teams that had parents on them, when we used to have that, sometimes the people who were on the curriculum adoption would make a presentation to the building leadership team, and those parents who were on it would be part of that information. That was one way in the past. But I'm thrilled that you're looking at this and writing it down so that there's consistency, because we know that it's been lots of different methods to this, and I really am happy we'll have it down on paper before we actually put ourselves back into it.
Yeah. You know, what makes me think about is our instructional materials committee does have parents on it. And so there are people that have signed up to be it, but they're in that last process as well, where they're looking at what we've done and asking questions. But those might also be people who might be interested in being more involved in the process up to that point. So when it gets to the instructional materials committee, they could literally speak to the process, not just as instructional material committee members, but as people who were involved in the process as well. Yeah.
And this is a subject matter that's really near and dear to me. I know it's really important, and I think that as we get leaders in our district, everybody's got a theory or an idea of kind of what works, or they have a pet project or a pet style. And what I'm really looking forward to from this document, and I love that it's been incorporating the ACT, the acronym there, and that's how you're going to drive it forward. And I just really am excited to see a really legible roadmap that can be used for the process and that can be brought back to the board if we're voting on something that is going to improve our students' learning and those scores and what makes Orting look like a fantastic school district. That's part of it. And to have a rubric, a way that's put down, these are what we're looking at, this is how we're looking at it, and this is what we're going to review at decision time, so that, and much like when we had the whole employee survey, we wanted to see the details. I personally feel that we would get great value out of seeing the details of those committees and the decisions as you guys are making them. I'm not one to tell you how to do it, but I definitely am looking forward to seeing those details as you put them together. I'm very excited by this project.
Thank you.
So Steve, I want to say this particular topic, the last time we talked about it, curriculum meant an entirely different thing to me. And, I have to admit, I sit back and as we started this conversation, I started to go back through my notes and my mental checklist of what I was thinking about when we talked about curriculum the last time. And I have to admit now I kind of go back to something that Principal Schlegel said earlier in the pandemic. School reimagined. And I think it's fantastic that we have a proactive approach to start looking at curriculum, because if the last 6, 7, 100 months has shown us anything, it's that we need to make sure we're flexible and agile enough to move forward through anything. And so I think even more importance than previously should be put on curriculum review and making sure our curriculum's adaptable and successful.
So, any more questions for Steve? Is this an action item?
No.
No?
No, just a, it was a request, I believe, through your retreat, that your advance, that you wanted to have some discussion. There are a couple of topics that we wanted to have some discussion on over the next couple of months, and this was one of them.
Thank you. It is a discussion. We will keep this on the front burner.
Yeah, the feedback's very helpful. Thank you. And if other things come to your mind and whatnot, please just drop me an email or a line or give me a call or whatnot. I'd love to. Your feedback's been very good. And I'll keep you apprised of how we're moving forward and thinking the reimagining part of this.
Okay, we're here now. We're going to move right along to the second reading of the policy. Any questions?
Actually, kind of. maybe not necessarily a question, but I'm kind of uncomfortable with the accountability goals document. So I know that this is an action item set of documents, and I'm not sure how I feel about some of the stuff in that particular document as I was going through it for the second time. I don't know if you want the details on that, or if we can kind of have another discussion about it as a board. I don't know, but let me know what you want from me.
You're not comfortable of the whole document, some of the document? What are you not comfortable with?
So this particular document, it states very specifically that the performance improvement goals for assessment administered must consistent is 90% of the students eligible to be assessed will meet standard on the required state assessments. So if I'm understanding this correctly, we're supposed to have 90% of our students meeting standards in the state assessments. We're nowhere close to that unless I'm completely in La La Land somewhere. Secondly, I did a little research of my own, and even an upper end district, and I'm going to use Bellevue as an example, they're not even at 90%, and they're one of the higher performing school districts in our state that I'm aware of. So, one, I'm wondering, is this even a reasonable request to have 90%? Not saying that our students don't need high expectations whatsoever. That's not where I'm trying to go with it. I'm just wondering, A, is that a reasonable request? And then B, what is our process for accountability when that's not being met? And so that was kind of my couple of things, really big things in this particular document. Number one, is 90% reasonable? Is that real? And number two, what is our process for accountability when we're not meeting that?
Dr. Tony, can you address that, or you want
to? Sure, I have to do that. Melissa, I have to agree with you that 90% is an unattainably high goal, and I would urge the board to send back the accountability policy for further review, and to bring it back at such time that we have refined it to develop reachable goals for our students. And when there is when we do set attainably high goals or attainable goals, and they become unreached goals, that we have a method by which we attempt to rectify that deficit. And so I would urge the board to send back the accountability policy for further review.
Thank you, Tony. I also want to make it clear that this was not brought up just tonight. I actually did email Lynn with my comments on this earlier, so I didn't want anybody to think that I just kind of.
Oh, come on, you ambushed them.
No, she talked to Tony about this. I was there.
No, I think it's reasonable. From time to time, there are going to be issues like this that come before the board. I feel very comfortable with the point being raised, and I think that it needs further study, and we can come back with a revised policy in the area of accountability.
So we don't have a deadline on this? That was my only concern with that. We don't have a deadline?
I'm not aware of any fast approaching deadline at this time.
Okay, great. Then I agree with Melissa and you.
No. So the only thing I would like to see is if we push this back to a later meeting for a re-review, I would like to see our current metrics, and with some historical data. What were we 2 years ago, last year, etc. So we can, it's easier to set attainable goals if you have a solid understanding of where you most recently have been.
Yeah, very reasonable request.
It seems like we might benefit from a work session to discuss our concerns and to get this information and to discuss where we want to go with this.
I think that's a very good suggestion.
Because we need to we need to look at where we are, where we're going. Because we need to know where we are. For where we got to have a benchmark. We got to start from somewhere.
Yep. And I'd like to include, Steve, maybe, and Tony, could we include the principals in that conversation?
Of course. Absolutely. Very good suggestion. Excuse me.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa. What about any other policy? Any other concerns? Because we can make a motion, but take that policy out and just approve the one status.
I didn't have any other questions or concerns about the other documents.
Neither did I.
Me neither.
So let's make a motion to approve all but policy on the accountability 2004BP. Can I get a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the second reading of policy considerations with the sole exception of 2004 BP, the accountability goals.
Second.
I'll second that.
Maybe first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it approved. Thank you.
Next
thing we have on the
President Holland, may I just make a comment?
Yeah.
I want to just share that I'm impressed with the board's action on tabling the accountability portion of this policy, of the number of policies that are presented tonight. I think that it's something that I've talked to my cabinet about. When you see or hear, see something that just doesn't feel or sound right, that you step up and tell people, put the brakes on before something gets moved ahead that does not really address the kinds of student success that we're looking for and that we want to have measured accountability. And so I want to compliment the board for taking action. I think it's the right decision to send it back for further work, including the involvement of principals.
You're welcome, and thank you, Melissa, for bringing it up tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Dr. Tony. The next one on the agenda is consent agenda 1 through 9. Any questions, concerns? If none, can we get a motion?
Motion to approve 1 through 9 on the consent agenda.
All in
I'll
favor?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All approved. Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is an action item, resolution 1-2020-21. Lynn.
Thank you. We've heard from Marcy Bannon tonight that our enrollment didn't meet our projections and the impact that could have on our budget. Despite Marcy's enthusiasm and optimism, these are really uncertain times that we're facing potential loss of revenue. It's our responsibility to plan accordingly and to prepare for lost funding while maintaining our instructional programs. We have worked creatively together to provide meaningful work during remote and distance learning. And even with that creativity, we may be forced to consider consolidation and reductions in some positions. If so, if that action is deemed necessary, we will work with our union partners and our employees. I'm asking the board to authorize the superintendent through resolution number 1-2020-21 to take action if necessary to reduce staffing and implement reductions. If this action is necessary, all recommendations for layoff or furlough would be presented to the board along with savings on any such reduction. This is a difficult step that we may have to take. And to be perfectly honest with you, I hate having to bring it to you. But in my position as Chief Officer for Human Resources and Business Services, I ask that you authorize the resolution to establish a reduction in staffing if necessary. Are there any questions?
Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 1.2020-21.
All in favor?
I'll second it.
Sorry. All in favor?
Night. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next one is capital facility plan.
Yep, capital facility plan is me. It's something that we have to do every year, so we have to update it every year to continue to collect impact fees from any builders in our district area, not just in the town of Orting, but in the surrounding area of our district. We update this with current information as it's known at the time, and although if you ever look at the page where I calculate how much impact fees we could be collecting, Pierce County's code only allows us to collect a specific dollar amount that's nowhere near what we need to, but it's what we got. So in order to collect the smaller amount that Pierce County allows us to, we have to pass a resolution and create a capital facility plan every year so at least we can collect something. So I'm asking guys to please approve resolution number 2 for the capital facility plan.
Can I ask a question? Will there be a time when we could have a work session talking about, the facilities we have and, so we have a chance to talk more about where we're going, what we have, what we're gonna do?
I don't have a problem having that kind of, but I don't know it's my place to say.
Right, I'm just asking the question.
We can add it.
Okay.
We can add it. We can add it to a work session.
Right.
Hey, Tony, can you see what work section we can put that on?
Yeah, I think it's long overdue. I believe it may have sparked some interest in the most recent weekly update in which I referenced several areas about our future as a school district. And I would be very enthusiastic relative to the creative discussion and interest of the board with regard to the future of facilities in this district. Should there be a bond issue in the future? Should there be a 4-year levy down the road? Should we acquire land for future school sites? All of those topics are wonderful topics about the future of the Orting School District. And I think that this board has the creative energy and courage to step forward and do some wonderful planning for the future children in this community.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, President Collins, we will move forward with this.
I think it would be great for us to have
Thank
a
you, Dr.
chance to talk to each other about this.
Yeah, and I think in our retreat we identified that we wanted to do like a kind of an area assessment, like what developments are coming online. I know they just started re-clearing the land up above me in my district. And we've done that in the past, so there might be some resources from the past board meetings, but do an assessment of what are the student projections coming, and then look at our buildings and our property and identify the gaps there. Maybe like over the course of 2 meetings. We had in the past, we had the developer from Tahali come down and talk about, how many students they're projecting we're going to have, and commercial property that's up there that we should be getting tax revenue for, some of that kind of stuff.
But we also haven't discussed some of the property that we do have, where the bus garage and the old school is, and what about those soccer fields that are sitting out there that were on fire a few weeks ago? So I think it'd be great to update us on it.
For sure.
All right, will do.
Great. And in the meantime,
A motion
we need to
approve resolution 2 for the. So I move that we approve resolution 2.
I'll second it.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? It's been approved. Thank you. Next, we got student representative report. Ava Fritz.
Is Ava still with us?
Yes, hi. I've been with you guys.
There we are.
Okay, so I don't really know. There's not a ton for me to report on because it's been online. So I don't know, do you guys want me to my experience, or I don't really know what you guys want me to talk about.
Well, how's the opening of school been for you?
Okay, I see what you guys you're just but I don't know. Personally, I really online learning. I really I like that. I wish I could afford me with my teachers and everything, but I don't. I was supposed to have sports, and I was just in school and stuff, and I was missing out on I was cheered for the first time this year for my senior year, and I haven't gotten to do that, which is sad. But I don't know. I think that as a whole, the students we're enjoying it, and I think that we're all adapting to it very well. And from what I've heard, and so that's really good. And I'm really proud of the student body as a whole, of us just being able to adapt to this and just learn and grow, and so.
Well, we'll be looking forward to your opinion on student events and conditions in the district. You have a very important voice that our board will be listening to. So thank you for being here tonight and continuing your important role as representative. Nadine, any comments about the start of school for you?
Yeah, I've personally been adapting really well, and I've been speaking to some of the students as well, asking them about their experience, and considering the situation, it's as good as it can be. People really like less periods a day. It's less stressful, and yeah, although some people are having ongoing technical issues, it's running pretty smoothly, and a big shout out to all the teachers. They are doing so wonderful teaching these online classes. I can't imagine how stressful that is, so a big shout out to them. They are doing wonderful. And yeah, the freshmen, I've spoken to a couple freshmen, although it's not an ideal way for them to start high school, they're doing okay. And I would actually like to propose the idea of, if possible, maybe on Fridays or after the last period of the day ends during the school week, if there can be Google Meets set up with upperclassmen, so freshmen can join in and ask questions or just get some advice or talk to someone older. They just need it because they're starting high school. They probably have some questions. They might need help, and we can offer it.
Great idea. I love it. I think we can talk about that tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yes. Do we have any others, our student reps on, still with us? There's Amber. Amber, how's the start of school for you?
Well, first of all, hi everybody. And school for me has actually been going pretty well. I am a very independent person, so when it comes to being able to do all my schoolwork at home and at my own pace, it's really nice. I don't know if everybody agrees. Like, I've heard a lot of good things about people enjoying how we're doing school right now, especially like kids that maybe don't apply themselves in school as much as some other people do. I've heard a lot of things about how they really appreciate how we're taking school on this year, and I probably would assume that they might continue doing this even if we do go back to regular school. And I really do wish we were at school though, because I miss social time. I'm sure everyone else does. Everyone feels the same way. I do have something for tomorrow when we meet up. It's a fundraiser idea, and I'm super excited, and I hope we get a chance to do it.
All right, I look forward to our discussion tomorrow. So, Cassidy, I saw you on here. There you are.
I'm here. So, my experience with online learning has been amazing. I enjoy being able to wake up later, of course, and my teachers have been absolutely wonderful and understanding with the workload. I'm in a couple AP classes, and I'm actually taking Math 101 through Central this year. My teachers have been very understanding with the workload and knowing that we have multiple other classes other than their class, and are being very generous with the time given with work. And I've heard from very many other students that the teachers have been very accommodating for us, and it's just been an amazing experience. And I'm really glad that we have teachers that are willing to serve us in that way. I'm really, really thankful for every single staff member because they have been adapting and overcoming beautifully.
Well, Cassidy, thank you. A great report from all of you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Now, board members, you do see evidence of how tough it was for Mr. Freeze and I to make a decision just to select one of them to serve as a board rep. So, great. There's Haley. Haley, didn't know you were there.
Sorry. I'd just like to start off by saying I think it is just wonderful the fact that, you know, I am a hybrid student myself, and I think that has been such a great option for me to be able to do option B with the Ingenuity and stuff, who Cornelis has been a great guide through all of that. But to also be able to take part in classes like leadership and ASL through the school. I think that has been really awesome, and I'm glad I'm still able to participate in stuff like that. I'd also like to say I'm really looking forward to our meet tomorrow to talk about the different ways we can get other students involved in, you know, applying their work and all that stuff.
All right, look forward to it, Haley.
So thank you so much, you guys. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really glad to be a part of this.
Great to have you a part of it, too. All right. Now, there's some enthusiasm.
Oh, no kidding.
There's some energy.
Yes.
I think they're going to bring that to the game all year long.
I love it.
I am so excited to hear from these kids. Carrie, I'm sorry if I just kind of...
No, you're good. Go ahead, and then I'll talk.
That enthusiasm. Oh my goodness. It's been wonderful. I've only been here for a year, and I got to hear Ava last year along with Ashley. But to have this group of very well-spoken young women and some fantastic ideas that they're going to bring to the district, this is going to be fantastic. I'm super excited to be involved with you guys and to see what you're going to bring to the table. You're going to set the bar high for the next representatives, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I just wanted to make 2 requests of our student representatives. One, please keep the board informed, aware, scheduled to participate in any fundraisers and events. We like to show up for our students at our schools, and so don't forget us when you're sending out announcements. We really want to be involved. And 2, you're here because we want your voice in our meetings, whether we're reviewing policy or talking about other programs within the district. We really do want your voice in our meetings. So please don't be shy about speaking up. You are part of this team.
Just remember, we're here for you.
Right.
So let us know how we can help you succeed. I got a question for Ava. Do you have an uncle named Rick Fritz?
Do I have a what?
Do you have an uncle named Rick or Richard Fritz?
I don't think so, but I feel like there's someone in my family named Richard, but like old, like really old. Like
No, he was young.
I've never met.
He was a young guy. He said
He
what
was probably just your age, Stanley.
No, that's not what I meant. I just meant that I've like heard that name, but like I've never met him. I don't know. Maybe I can ask my parents. I don't know.
Yeah, we had a Rick Fritz that served on the city council.
Really?
He's now in Pierce County. He runs actually the Pierce County Council.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think
Yes.
so, but possibly.
And he's not. And he's not old.
Yeah, then I don't think so because I feel like it's like my great grandpa or something.
Oh no.
So I don't think so.
Well, you have a cousin out there.
Yeah.
Any other questions for them? If you're here now, we'll move on to board comments. Any comments from the board?
I just wanted to share a great first grade teacher story. One of her students said, "How come we're not saying the Pledge of Allegiance?" And she went out and she brought her flag in from her front porch so that they could say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I thought that was a perfect example of listening to your students.
I got one comment. Is the computer guy still on? I want to hear about the Ordering Express.
Hello. I have a little baby on my shoulder. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing well.
Good. And I apologize if you see him grabbing me.
No, don't apologize.
You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Ordering Express, it's working awesome. Every day we're getting people that come in or that are messaging and calling in and texting, emails, and we're able to solve their problems. It's been really amazing. So we just keep moving along every single day. And the problems will vary from students who need help figuring out how to access their Google Classroom, figuring out issues with their Google Meets, kids that are having issues with their Chromebooks. Yeah, there's a lot of different things, and we just troubleshoot it and or pass it on to the teacher if it's a question for on the instructional side. So,
Matt, I'm curious. Are you getting how would you rank more phone calls, more chat, or more email? I'm curious what method parents and families and students are preferring.
Yeah, it's all over the place, but I'd say the biggest one would be our messaging chat on our website. I think they found that to be really, really easy. But we have a lot of younger people that are doing the texting too. So we have a phone that they can text into and we'll respond to it. So we've gotten a lot on that as well.
Very cool. And I appreciate, I think I've seen Jody Leonard online often saying, have you tried Ordering Express? She's doing a really good job advocating for it and directing people that way. So just with your team, I've literally heard no complaints.
Well, we appreciate that. The less complaints, the better for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard good things about it. Go to Ordering Express. You can get the questions answered. I just want to say thank you. It's running well.
It's one of the exciting things that happened this year is this Ordering Express, and I'm really glad it's here, and I am excited to know that it's not going to be just a 2020-21 school year thing. I like that it'll be around.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Well, here Any more comments from the board?
Yeah, I just have one. I have to say, I'm truly looking forward to no longer meeting on a computer screen and working back towards, when acceptable, having our meetings in person.
I miss you, George.
Bud Light, Johnny.
I'm with you. I won't go so far as to say I miss you, George, but I just look forward to face too.
And I will be so happy not to try and get on every time.
You're a pro now, Kathy. I don't know what you're worried about.
Oh, don't say that. Well, the next time, you know.
Well, it's not hearing any more comments. We're going to join the meeting at 7:21. You guys have a good night. God bless. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank
you. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you so
much.